Hey guys, it's Harry here from Hoopinions. Now, normally we use this channel to make basketball content, but I've decided that hoops are very similar to tires, and therefore I can talk about the Formula One on this channel. So we're going to be breaking down the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, aka Baku, and what a race it was. Let's get the elephant straight out of the room. What is going on with the Ferrari engines and the power units and everything that's being supplied by Ferrari? Not only did Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz DNF, though, to be fair on Carlos Sainz, what rotten luck for this man. It looks like his failure wasn't anything to do with engine, potentially, or might have been a different issue what it looked like to everyone else, but still, that man just can't get a break. He had done nothing wrong. This one is completely on the team. Nothing to do with Carlos Sainz. Really unfortunate that he was unable to finish. And honestly, the same thing with Charles Leclerc. He was out in front. He'd been doing a great race until the engine just went poof. Like, you saw all the smoke and the heat. It just went poof. And I think the thing that's really concerning is that the Charles Leclerc problem was quite similar to Kevin Magnus's problem. Just went poof and was smoking a lot. Guan Yu Zhou, sorry if I mispronounced that. I'll have to go over that. For Alfa Romeo, we don't know if it was a similar problem. He just got told to come into the pits. We didn't see a huge amount of overheating, but it's not great. And it's a real bummer for Zhou, because he was doing so well. He was up there in the points. I'm pretty sure he was up in the points. Tell me if I'm wrong, but he was doing such a great job, and to DNF is a huge blow for him. And Alfa Romeo have been looking fantastic, except for the whole engines don't seem to handle anything problem, which seems to be a Ferrari problem. They don't seem to like the hot weather. They've really struggled where it's been hot. And Ferrari, I thought, going into the season, especially based off the first couple of races, that Ferrari had the superior engine package, the superior aero. I thought that they were going to run away with this championship, and Red Bull has really fixed those issues that they had at the beginning of the season. Now Ferrari are definitely on the back end, and if Ferrari don't step up really soon and get these engine problems and other malfunctions under control, they're going to slip out of contention, and it's going to be Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez fighting for this championship. So I wanted to run through everyone quickly and just give you a rough recount on what I think are the most important parts of this race. And just straight off the bat, I thought this was a great race. There was a lot of overtakes. There was a lot of drama. Fantastic. Like, look, Baku's a harder street circuit. It's up there kind of with Monaco. It can get a little bit stale, but I think that these new regs definitely help people stay closer, and we were able to see a lot of battling for position, and there was a lot of movement on the grid. So Max Verstappen obviously started P3. He made up 2 positions to finish in P1, and just once he got past Perez, the pace there was just unstoppable. Sergio looked really strong at the beginning of the race, but that mid-race, 1/3, maybe 2/3 through the race, Max got past and just didn't look back. And that's the thing with Perez. Perez started P2, finished P2, net gain of 0. And I think that's what's going to cost Perez in the future, is that Perez is the perfect teammate. He's got great. He's getting very quick on his qualifying, but on race day, it just seems to be that half a second, half a blink behind Max. He just hasn't got that pace, and he might have that pace initially, but he can't keep it up the whole Grand Prix. He can't push that hard and stay at that same sort of pace. And Max just, I don't know how he does it, but he keeps those tires at a really good range and is just able to keep going. And there was that little scare at the end with a loose piece of debris or something in around his brake area, but thankfully Max was able to finish. Perez, again, perfect start, was leading that race, took the inside line, took first position away from Charles Leclerc straight off the bat, and was looking really strong. He just dropped off. There was a lot of drop off, and I don't know why there was so much drop off. Did Max maybe get the preferred or the better strategy calls with the boxing? Maybe. But if Perez had had the same sort of look, let's be real. If Perez could have kept the pace that he was doing at the beginning of the race all the way through the race, he'd be P1 right now. And at the end of the day, he didn't keep that pace up, and Max just ran away with it, and it was another really, really strong race from Red Bull. They're looking to can you say they're maturing really well in the season? They're like a wine. They've started off pretty rough. They've really worked out their problems, and they're looking really, really strong now, especially on races that have long straights. Those Red Bulls are absolute rockets. Absolute rockets. George Russell, what a race. Qualified P5, finished on the podium. Third position for Russell. Net gain of 2. And again, a lot of the positions gained are going to be skewed a little bit because we had 4 DNFs. So it's kind of like Russell didn't really make any positions up per se. I don't think he overtook anyone in the race ever. But he did come from P5 to P3, which is fantastic. I think that George Russell is the leading Mercedes person at the moment. Actually, I'm pretty sure he is the leading Mercedes person. That sounds really amateurish. He definitely is. And he's the Mercedes' best bet at the moment. Lewis Hamilton just can't catch a break, which let's talk about Lewis. P4, he started P7, made up 3 places, so he got 2 for the 2 Ferraris falling back, and then I believe he got Pierre, which maybe Pierre not going for that late pit stop under the virtual safety car hurt him, because Hamilton just had so much more speed at the end. Fresher tires, win races, guys. I was really impressed. I thought Lewis, when he got pitted early for that first virtual safety car, and he really dropped down the order, I thought that Mercedes had made a mistake, but Lewis Hamilton, love him or hate him, he was really consistent out there. He had a lot of good pace and got the car home in P4. Pierre started off in P6. Did he start off P6? Finish P5? He sure did. Net gain of 1. Pierre, I thought, had a lot of pace. It's his best finish to date. I think AlphaTauri, honestly, for Pierre, fantastic. Fantastic. It's a real bummer that AlphaTauri couldn't get 2 of their cars into the top 10, which Yuki was definitely trending in that direction with an unfortunate, I don't even know what you'd call it, the DRS wing for Yuki, or his rear wing just split in half under DRS, and he had to come in. They put a pair of fresh softs on him, and they taped the DRS, the wing down, and he finished the race, which props to them. They could have retired the car, but they tried to make it work, and I think they've made it work. But Yuki was up in the top 10 and unfortunately had to drop down. So really, really disappointing for Yuki. Just unlucky. There's not a lot you can do, and I think even the commentators were saying I've never seen a wing like half split before. So he was lucky to finish the race, but P13 for Yuki. He was the only person with finishing in negative positions gain. He lost 5 positions. He, qualified P8, finished 13th, but Yuki was looking really good, and I don't think you can give him too much of a hard time. Sebastian Vettel honestly could have been much higher if he hadn't made a mistake in that first overtake that he made, locking up the fronts, having to do a real nice U-turn. Can we just say he just spun that car around. But I think with how much Aston Martin have been struggling, qualifying P9, finishing in P6, what a performance. Could have been higher, but for Aston Martin, you take that every day. Absolutely every day. Fernando Alonso, I swear, the Alpines, they have to drive. Like, it feels like these guys drive hippos in all of their races, because it's always Fernando and it's always Ocon holding people up. These things are absolute rubbish in the corners, but they've got enough straight line speed that no one can overtake them. So like you've got these little trains forming behind the Alpines, because they're fast enough on the straight that you can't overtake them, but on the corners you're just stuck behind them, especially on a tight circuit like Baku. You can't take them on the corners, you have to take them on the straight. And Fernando held up so many people today, including my team, the McLarens. Now, Daniel got a bit... Actually, honestly, Daniel and Ricciardo Daniel made 4 places today. 2 places raw if you count out the Ferraris, but a fantastic performance. Look, not fantastic. Look, it's okay for Ricciardo, fantastic for McLaren, but at least they're in the points, which this track did not suit their car at all. They don't have a lot of straight line speed, so honestly, finishing P8 and P9 is probably the best that they were going to get this weekend. Daniel Ricciardo finishes in P8 because he owed Lando a favour. Well, Lando owed him a favour because at the beginning of the race, Danny had a lot of pace, and I think they should have let Danny pass earlier because he was just chomping at the jaws, but they told him to stay behind Lando. Lando was given preferential treatment. Honestly, I don't know if it worked because at the end of the race, Danny was ahead of Lando. Now, Lando probably could have taken Danny at the end, and I think what was fair, though, was that Danny did back off for Lando, so it was only fair that at the end of the race, when Lando had more pace, he had to back off for Danny because the things were reversed. Questionable whether McLaren could have turned that into a better situation, but overall, pretty happy for Lando and Daniel, seeing as they P8, P9, and they started off P11, P12. A little bit frustrated if you're Lando, but Danny did you a favor, and it's a weird team individual sport, so you have to pay that back, unfortunately. Esteban big booty Ocon with Fernando driving the widest car, I swear, in all of history. Fast on the straights, couldn't get him on the corners. Really not much else to say. I thought Esteban had a great race, made up 3 positions, 1 position raw if you take away the Ferraris, into the points. Alpine, got to be happy with being in the points. I feel like they should have been higher. I just don't know what to say when it comes to Alpine. I feel like they've put a lot of money into upgrades and they're just not really getting results. And I think with the Alpine, look, Fernando, you're probably happy for P7. Esteban, I think you'd be a little bit disappointed coming behind the McLarens, especially with how much better straight line speed you had. But I guess in the points is all you want. Valtteri Bottas made up 4 positions. Fantastic race for him. Well, not fantastic. I shouldn't say fantastic, but just to add the points. But the Alfa Romeo's just, I don't know, it started off really, really strong. And like the Haas, it's just kind of not tracked where I thought it would based off the initial first couple of races. So, but 11th, I think that's fine with Valtteri. Alexander Albon made the most positions. Actually, no, I lied. Nick Schumacher made up more positions, but Alexander Albon started 17th, finished 12th. Can't get upset with that, especially with how rubbish the Williams is. Yuki, we've mentioned him, P13, unfortunate issue there. I'm hoping that AlphaTauri can bounce back. They looked really strong this weekend, and I hope they can keep that moving forward. Mick Schumacher started 20th, finished 6th. He overtook Latifi and Stroll. Well, I think, did Stroll finish? I thought they retired Stroll, but he might have finished. But anywho, Mick Schumacher, I don't know what. Honestly, I don't think he shouldn't be racing next year, but maybe his last name gets him another opportunity. He just didn't look great this weekend. Latifi got the penalties for incorrect starting grid, and then he got another one for ignoring blue flags. I think Latifi's gone next year, just throwing that out there, but pretty average. He didn't really get any positions off merit. He pretty much just got the freebies from the people that didn't finish. And Lance Stroll at the end, maybe he got a finish. I thought he DNF'd, but that's it. Overall, my thoughts on Baku was that honestly, I really enjoyed it. The Ferraris dying about every 5 or 10 laps was really entertaining. Rest in peace, Ferrari. As I said at the beginning of the video, there's a big question mark on these Ferrari engines and power units. They might be the same thing, engine, power unit. Whatever Ferrari is selling to other teams, they looked like the superior engine to start the season, but now I'm not sure. There seems to be a lot of reliability issues, and these engines are fast, but they, especially when it's really, really hot, don't seem to handle the heat very well at all. Mercedes are looking stronger. The bouncing, the porpoising. The porpoising in the Mercedes, the Ferrari looked really uncomfortable. The Haas, there was some really uncomfortable bouncing during this race. And the Mercedes seemed to be complaining about the porpoising the loudest, trying to like angle for a rule change. And there's really not much to it. If you want to protect your drivers more, raise your ride height. You have to, if you want to look after your drivers, raise the ride height. You won't be as fast, and you'll let go of some performance. But honestly, I don't think it's fair to. Everyone else has found solutions to the problem, and Mercedes are struggling. So, but they still, even when they're struggling, they're still getting P3, P4. They're making good moves. So don't count out Mercedes. It might be too late in the season for them to catch Red Bull unless they make a huge breakthrough. That was a big but Mercedes looking strong. Red Bull Racing might be the team to beat right now and the drivers to beat. Ferrari really don't have much longer. They can't afford these DNFs for much longer before the championship's going to get out of reach. I hope McLaren can pull something out of the bag for next week at Canada. And I'm just this season's kind of been a bit all over the place. Not a bit all over the place as in like in a bad way, but it's, other than Red Bull and Ferrari near the top, it's kind of been a bit all over the place. I think that there are some cars that have some really distinctive strengths and some really distinctive weaknesses, and it's interesting to see how the teams do at each track week to week when the tracks favor different cars. So maybe if this gets some views, we'll do this again. But thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you think, and I'll see you next week for Canada. Thanks a lot. Peace.